Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Speechless. 6:51, Big 550 KTRS, ABC News correspondent live in Manchester, New Hampshire, Brad Melke. Brad, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
What's interesting about that clip, many things and many of the reaction, but the crowd seemed to eat it up. The crowd loved that comment.
I was going to say, you had thousands of people in South Carolina last night, and as much as we talk about the reaction from across the country and the world today, including Republicans, you did not see that reflected in the crowd last night in South Carolina. He had a lot of people on his side, and when ABC News talked to them, a lot of them said, yeah, I'm glad he speaks the way I do. I'm glad he's speaking his mind. So that is some of the Donald Trump voters that you're going to be running into over the next few days, which makes you wonder if his poll numbers, even after these inflammatory statements, will change at all. So far, they haven't.
What about the reaction from the Republican candidates who are running against him? They seem to be all in agreement. Is there anybody who is saying anything other than outright divisiveness and things like that?
So far, everyone's been in total agreement that these comments were outrageous and divisive. Those are the words a lot of people keep using. The only question has sort of been who was sort of the last to jump on board. We were also, we had the office pool wondering who would be the last to say anything. And Marco Rubio actually took a little while to end up coming out against Donald Trump. And it was actually interesting. A few days ago, Marco Rubio said, where is this widespread evidence that we have a problem in America with discrimination against Muslims? And some people now wondering if he's finally found that evidence. But he, last night, ended up tweeting that that Donald Trump's habit of offensive and outlandish statements to bring Americans together. So he was one more in the chorus, really decrying the statement from Trump.
Brad, is he backtracking at all this morning, Donald Trump?
Absolutely not. He was actually just on Good Morning America talking to George Stephanopoulos, and he really doubled down on his statement saying that we need to stop Muslims from coming into the country, at least ones that aren't American citizens already. He said that U.S. Servicemen and women who were practicing Islam could re-enter the country. But other than that, he said we're going to put the kibosh on more than 1 billion Muslims around the world who until Trump is president would be allowed to enter the country at least as tourists. But he says that he even expressed some sympathy for FDR's internment of the Japanese, saying that FDR had bridges named after him in the aftermath of that. And when George pressed him on it, he said, I don't want to see that happen. But he drew the comparison.
He's delusional in that why is, and I'm not asking you specifically, but I'm sort of asking the ether, why is he okay with American Muslims who are in the armed forces, but not American Muslims who are overseas? Or it just seems to me like, he's clearly demagoguing the issue. Clearly, right?
Well, and demagogue is exactly the word that Martin O'Malley used. Martin O'Malley immediately tweeted out that this is the sort of fascist demagoguery that you're seeing from Donald Trump. And there are actually a few Republicans, even Jim Gilmore, if you remember, is still running for president, the former governor of Virginia. But he used the word fascist to describe Donald Trump, too. So there's a lot of contention right now in and around the Republican Party of just how strongly they can attack him without just drawing, more fans to the Donald Trump fire. So that's what we're sort of seeing today is will this continue and will this affect his support at all? Because it seems like a big moment, but we've seen big moments in the past for him as well.
Brad Melke, you talk to political analysts. They still say that this is still a shell game and that when it's all said and done, Donald Trump is going to be nowhere near the top of the polls come Iowa and New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's what they say. You start to hear the certainty drip away a little bit, though, over the last few weeks, I will tell you that. Because we are getting close to the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary. That's just the calendar that we're looking at. It's getting down to an issue of weeks, not months, of when people will actually cast their vote. Now, I think there is a case to be made that if you're choosing between 1 or 2 or 3 candidates right now, that if you are not sure about Donald Trump, that you might end up pulling the lever for somebody else. But there are a bunch of people, and we saw them last night, that look like they're going to vote for Trump and probably no one else. So a lot would have to change in the next few weeks to keep him from getting, if not a majority, if not winning these caucuses and primary from getting a significant number of votes.
Brad Melke, ABC News correspondent, live in Manchester. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
6:55, Big 550 KTRS. Donald Trump is doing the rounds of the morning shows. He just told MSNBC's The Morning Joe show that his Muslim friends agree with him. 6:56 KTRS.